Welcome to the Heal Your Hunger Show, where we get to the heart of why you overeat and how to stop. If you struggle with food and weight like I did, welcome home.
Welcome everybody to the Heal Your Hunger Show. So happy to have you here. It is a great day to be alive. And I have an amazing guest today that I can't wait to share with you. And if you are just kind of stumbling along and you happen upon the Heal Your Hunger Show for the first time, welcome. This is a really special place and I hope you feel it as you listen. So this is where we talk about the real issues, the things that underlie our obsession with food and weight, because it is an obsession. Trust me, I know it. I've been there, having been 50 pounds overweight and completely consumed by thoughts of food and eating and my favorite ooey gooey chewy foods and when I was going to eat, when I was going to get rid of what I ate. And oh my goodness, just what a racket. So I don't live that way today. I'm so grateful. And on account of having found a really beautiful step-by-step process for overcoming emotional eating that I put in my book. I talk about it in my programs. It's really my honor and privilege to share that as often as possible. And my podcast is one of the ways that I get to do that. We continue the conversation in the Secret Sauce group. So if you want to come hang out with us, go to Facebook and jump into the Secret Sauce to End Emotional Eating. And we'd love to have you there. This particular show is one in a series of shows called Snapshots of Freedom from Emotional Eating. And I'm just really excited to share just the variety of clients that I have. They come from all different walks of life and backgrounds. And, they're just such beautiful souls. I find that people who come to the Heal Your Hunger universe do so after much pain, much just beating their head against the walls, feeling very discouraged, very hopeless. And the journey of weight loss from the inside out that happens with Heal Your Hunger is so different. And they feel it and their heart opens up. And you're going to feel that open heart in this beautiful interview that I'm doing right here. So stay tuned at the end, stay till the end. Because I do a little Trishas Take where I sum up the interview and I like to talk about a few of the key points that were covered. So join me for Trishas Take at the very end. Okay, let's jump in. Sheri, welcome. So glad to have you here.
Thanks, Tricia. I'm honored and so glad to be here today.
Yeah, it's great to have you. And it's been an amazing journey having you with Heal Your Hunger and seeing all the changes that have happened for you and to you and all the brightness that you bring to all the ladies in the program. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Tricia. I just want to say, up front, you changed and saved my life. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for the team and the community in the program. It is an amazing program.
Aw.
Yeah.
Well, great to have you. And so talk to us about what's kind of leading up to joining Heal Your Hunger. What was your relationship with food like and how did you come to join us? What was that breaking point?
Yeah. So for me, I've always been on some kind of diet. I mean, you name it, I've been on it. And I could lose weight, but then I'd gain it back, but I would lose weight, the wonderful world of yo-yo. Yeah. But the real pivotal point for me was in 2015. I got diagnosed with breast cancer. I went through a year of treatment with chemo, a double mastectomy, and radiation. I was clean after 1 year. Yay.
Yeah.
But 6 months later, I got diagnosed with the most aggressive form of leukemia.
Oh, wow.
And in that, they told me I had 30 days to live. I was an inpatient in the hospital for 62 days, getting chemo 3 times a day. And then I was an outpatient getting 302 rounds after, but I'm 4 years in remission.
Oh my goodness. Thank God for that. And that is incredible.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Wow.
But I had an aha moment, Tricia, in terms of food. When I was at the hospital, and it's a very fancy cancer hospital.
Okay.
They had, they had specialized chefs and they made meals like Asian meals, Italian meals, Mexican meals. This is not regular hospital food.
Wow.
They told me I could have whatever I wanted. So I did.
Okay.
I I ate like it was Thanksgiving for every meal, just stuffed myself, and I was having a good time doing it. But then I had a dietitian come up and tell me, listen, we're tracking your numbers and your sugar numbers are way too high. You need to cut out the sugar. But that was kind of the first time I heard about, the sugar impact to your body. The other thing I realized was I didn't cry one time at all while I was going through the treatment, and there's a lot of suffering in it.
Mm,
Um, so what I did instead was I was stuffing my pain and my feelings with food.
of course.
So the pivotal point, Tricia, where our paths crossed was after I had got out of the hospital. I'm in business development, so I work in corporate sales. I travel 7 to 14 days out of the month pre-COVID, eating in very high-end restaurants, and I never cooked, so I was eating takeout if I wasn't eating out with clients. So I decided, okay, I got to learn how to cook. So I hired a dietitian, nutritionist who helped me learn how to eat clean.
Okay.
So I was feeling pretty good about that. I'm thinking I'm doing really good, but I was eating a lot of sugar and clean foods, but a lot of it
Right.
to deal with my stress. And then when COVID turned up, it just escalated all the anxiety and all the stress. And I had a doctor's appointment in June of 2021. And I walked in and she said, Sheri, you are now a type 2 diabetic.
Oh, wow.
And she said, your A1C number is 6.8. She goes, you need to pay attention. With your medical history, this is not going to be good for you if you continue. So, Tricia, I'm the big believer that things happen at the right time and that things don't happen by coincidence.
Right.
And it just so happened the day after I saw my doctor and got this news about being diagnosed as type 2 diabetic, I received a video from my former nurse practitioner of oncology that I had worked with. And it was a video of you.
Okay.
And I started to listen. I saw you in the video and I'm listening and to what you're saying. And so much of what you said just resonated with me, about the anatomy of emotional eater, how our lives are, how we use food to deal with our lives. And I'm like, wow, I think this may be what I need. And so then we connected. And now I've been in the program 7 months.
Oh, beautiful. And what an amazing turnaround. And talk to us because really early on you revisited that doctor, right?
Yeah. So 3 months after I started the program, I had gotten off sugar and I was eating my regular meals. Those of you in the program know it as 3-meal magic. So I was eating regularly and I didn't even have any sugar cravings. I think that's the part that kind of blew my mind. So then 3 months after my diagnosis, I went back to see my doctor and we did another round of the blood work. And people, numbers don't lie. Okay.
Right.
People give you a lot of things, but numbers in the doctor doesn't lie. So my blood sugar went from June at 6.8, which is a type 2 diabetic, to 5.8, which is a pre-diabetic, and normal is 5.7. I mean, my doctor was bouncing on the balls of her feet with excitement. Wow. She said it was such a huge improvement that she rarely sees, and she wanted to know, what did I do? So I shared with her about you and the program, and she goes, I want Tricia's information because this is the resource I need to share with my own patients. So yeah. That was a testimony to her to see my blood sugar numbers drop that fast in 3 months to, almost a normal level.
That's incredible. That's amazing. Good for you. I love it. So this is a different path, obviously, the things you had done. And how would you describe the pivot that you made?
Yeah, so obviously at the beginning, my kind of focus was the food and the weight, right? I mean, I lost that first 3 months, I lost the dress size and that was really exciting. But as I went through the program, I realized this isn't about food. It's not about food at all. This is about me. this is about my anatomy as an emotional eater. So I got to start to understand about my personality traits and then also about triggers. And the heavy lifting that I've had to do is about dealing with my triggers. And the self care tools that we learn at Heal Your Hunger is huge on how I get through every day now. It's huge.
And when you say trigger, you're not talking about foods.
No, I'm talking about stress, anger, shame, those type of triggers. When they get triggered, then I want to use food so I don't deal with them.
Right.
That's what I've been doing with it. I feel now more relaxed and peaceful. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still get stressed and anxious, but I know I have immediate tools now that I'm able to use and calm myself down so that I don't have to go to food.
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge. And do you have people in your life that have noticed a difference in you?
Hmm. I would say this part, Tricia, really gets me because, oh, gosh, I can't even tell you. It's so more than I could ever believe. But one of the things that really has strengthened with me has been with my family. I mean, everything starts at home, right? In some form
Yeah.
or fashion. Um, I I've had some through the work that we've done and dealing with some of the deeper stuff, I've been able to have difficult and challenging conversations of forgiveness and asking to be forgiven. I've never been able to do this before. And I think without the tools and a supportive community that we have and the coaching, I was able to go to my two sisters who live here also in California, be able to really have that heart to heart talk and ask for forgiveness. Um, it's just been so beautiful for me.
That's
I
incredible.
I've also been able to learn. I mean, even though I'm corporate sales and I come across as a fairly confident person, I don't usually ask for what I need. And I'm now learning to ask for what I need to be in a healthy place, in a healthy space with my friends, my family, and my work.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that's a big change. We can we on the outside we can be bold and confident, right? But
Hmm.
when it comes to who we are and really being vulnerable, that's a different game, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah. I mean, for my sister in San Francisco, I drove up there to see her. And um, so I am a survivor of child sexual abuse.
Okay.
Um, so as we were growing up, I was 7 years older than her. I didn't know how to place the anger and the shame that I had. So I really took it out on her. I mean, major A bully. That's what I did practically her whole life. And in doing this work, I came to recognize, even as a child, there's still accountability that I have for my behavior. So I was able, and you have to imagine this, we're sitting in this little hole in the wall Chinese restaurant in Chinatown, San Francisco, over noodles. And I held her hand and I started to tell her that I needed her forgiveness and the why. And after I finished talking, I started to take my hand away and she held it tighter and she said, I forgive you. I've forgiven you for a while now, and I need you to feel my forgiveness.
Mm,
That was probably one of the best gifts of being the program, is to have that restoration of that relationship come back.
that
Not
is,
just come back, but be better and healthier.
yeah, that is so beautiful, Sheri. Thanks for sharing that. That's incredible. Really incredible. So beautiful. There have been so many things I've witnessed in you, like just amazing successes in your relationship, in your health, but also in your financial life and your business life. Can you talk about that?
Oh my God, Tricia.
It's been so fun to watch.
Right. Okay. So it's just okay. So I'm in sales and I would consider myself a fairly successful salesperson. Um, you probably, if you look at if you think of it as sports, right? If you look at a leaderboard, I'm probably that 1/3 on the top, but I've never been on the top. I've just been
Okay.
in that range. So one of the things I'm realizing is that as I've started to let go of all this negative toxicity, the shame, the anger, the fear. Oh gosh, I didn't realize how much fear I had when I started
Mm,
to let go or deal with it in ways that I can get through it.
yeah.
Things have opened up for me at work. I mean, last October, I signed the biggest deal of my entire career.
Wow.
Um, and it was the biggest deal of the year for the company. And after COVID, you need something good. And then this month in January, I signed also probably one of the largest deals for my company for 2022. We already know that going off the bat. I mean, it's like abundance and finances are flowing in, and it's I think I got the space for it now to track all that abundance, where before all that stuff that all that negative and toxicity stuff I was just hanging on to and using food to cover it. Now I've let it go, and boom, I got it's flowing. It is flowing abundantly.
I love that. What a beautiful testimonial. And it's true. Like our channels are blocked when we have all that negative emotion and self-doubt and self-worth stuff going on. Congratulations. That is so
Yeah.
cool. That's
It's
super
so
cool.
great.
Yeah, good for you. Talk about, so you have a really, I mean, you have a really high powered job, and I love that you talked about having new tools for stress, and whereas you used to eat, but now it's like you have new tools, which is not something we get from diets, right?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think two of the biggest ahas I had in terms of work was one, I guess you could have called me a workaholic. I was working 12 hours a day, 5, 6 days a week, doing that for years. And you would have thought that getting cancer would have changed those behaviors, but they didn't, because I realize now that I had tied my work to my own value,
Mm,
and that the way I got, the way I felt good about myself was to win
right.
and to get recognition. But I'm realizing now that Sheri, the person, Sheri, the person with feelings, is more important. So I have been this past year, and it's been a little bit of a roller coaster because this was a hard one for me. Been setting better boundaries, being able to communicate what my personal needs are at
Mm-hmm.
work, um, and then you know really getting my self-care tools to be more structured. For me, I need that structure so that when I wake up in the morning, I know, okay, I'm going to start off with my meditation 20 minutes, then I'm going to do my spiritual reading for the day, just to get my mind, and my spirit in a good place for the day. And then I kind of schedule out through the day the rest of the self-care tools. Some days are better than others. I will what's
Sure.
what's our saying? Progress, not perfection, right?
Right, right.
But I can tell. It's funny. I had this conversation with one of the coaches where I had a really bad day at work, and she said, "Were you meditating?" I said, "Yeah, I'm looking up my book because I track it all." I'm like, "Yeah, I meditate in the morning." She said, "Yeah, but you had that meltdown at the end of the day. Did you meditate at the end of the day?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, no." So I realized those self-care tools are really important to help me get through a lot of the stresses.
Beautiful. And you notice how it impacts your emotional,
Mhm.
your emotional balance.
True. Yes.
Yeah, I love that. I remember when we first talked and you came into the program, or were making your decision, you're really concerned about community and whether you'd fit in, or kind of like that felt really uncomfortable to you. Can you talk about that, kind of how that's played out for you?
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Great. First of all, great memory, Tricia. So let me come out to the community. So I'm a lesbian, so part of the LGBTQ community.
Mm-hmm.
I also converted to Reform Judaism. So if you're thinking about check the boxes for others, I can check several of the boxes for others. So as we were talking, we talked about that this is a journey of strength and courage because you're dealing with a person's vulnerabilities. And in the beginning, I got scared because I'm like, oh, well, I can check a lot of other boxes, right? I'm an Asian woman. Um, I'm a lesbian. I'm Jewish, which is a lot of otherness. Is this going to be a safe space to be able to be myself and be accepted? And I remember you, first of all, said you smiled and then you said, oh, you're going to love our community, because you're like, people are loving and kind. And that really got me. And it's been proven true. Even that we do this, virtually, you can feel the love and support of the community. And as a person that has a lot of diversity parts of my life, um, I don't feel any otherness with the community. I feel accepted and being able to talk about who I am and be loved and accepted. I love this community. So thank you, Tricia, for that question.
Aw, we love you too, sweetie. That's really beautiful. Yeah. And you bring so much to the group too. It's great. Always good to see your smiling face on Zoom.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this is really beautiful. We covered so much ground. You talked about stress and, the new tools that you've learned and dealing with underlying causes. I just love all that. Is there anything else you feel like is helpful or maybe what you've noticed about changes in you? Anything else that you feel like has really come alive in you that you didn't expect?
I really, gosh, again, Trisha, your program is amazing. I mean, I go through the modules and I'm like, oh, how does she know that about me? Kind of thing. It's like she's psychic. She knows these things. So there's been a lot of aha moments being in the community, but where I really see myself is that this is a space to grow and to heal, not just the body, but your mind, your heart. It's deepened my spiritual walk with God, and I've always been part of some kind of religious community in one form or fashion. And I've even gone to therapy, but there's something deeper than that takes place. I mean, I support religious communities and therapy. Don't get me wrong. I think they're important. But I think that we really get to the heart of the matter. It's it's the answers to my why. I always had why this, why, and I'm finding those answers to my why here. So again, your program has definitely changed my life. I have more life, I have more love, I have more peace, more joy. That's all coming from the program.
Aw, so beautiful. And your incredible hard work and commitment. So thank you so much for sharing all that, Sheri. You really are such a beautiful soul. And I'm so grateful to know you. So, and thanks for being so open and willing here to share your story. I know it will inspire so many people.
Thanks, Tricia. I'm again honored to participate, and I hope that it will. If one person feels moved to call you and say, I want to be part of it, it is worth it. It is totally worth it.
Oh, you have such a big heart. Thank you, Sheri.
Welcome.
Okay, here's my take. First of all, wow, what an incredible and really motivating interview this was. Sheri's experience and her courage is incredible. She's been through so much in her life. And I love how, her relationship with food changed and had to change because her health, her entire life was at stake. And that's really true for all of us when we're eating unhealthy foods in unhealthy amounts. But it certainly came into direct focus with Sheri and her health and her battle with cancer. So, hooray for Sheri and what she's been through and how she went through such an incredible transformation with her health, to the point of her doctor being totally amazed and impressed and wanting to be able to refer other people to this incredible resource. I love how Sheri talked about her financial success, how the clarity that overcoming emotional eating has brought to her work, and how much better able she is to do her work and carry the message in her work to the point of being the top saleswoman. Incredible. And then talking about the healing with her family, so beautiful. And as you might have noticed, this journey, this Heal Your Hunger journey, does have so little to do with food and so much to do with healing our relationships in every single way. So I'm so happy that Sheri came and shared her experience. And what I want to really dig into and comment on is the community that Sheri experienced and felt so much a part of. This is something that a lot of people miss on their weight loss journey. I think all of us have a sense of shame around not being able to control ourselves around food. And that shame carries over into our determination to try to fix this on our own, to be isolated, to do the diet, read the book, do what it says, and get better. And yet it eludes us when we try to do it on our own. So what Sheri got from community is what studies show community does for those on a weight loss journey. A few ways that community helps, being a part of this incredible community that Sheri has been a part of. First of all, it gives us encouragement and motivation. It's so easy to get discouraged when it's us and the food. Food looks at us all day long from the kitchen, calls to us. And if we don't have that community behind us to encourage us and motivate us, it's easy to fall prey to the siren songs of ooey gooey chewy foods. The shared experiences that we get from community, ending the isolation when we have these binges. I know for myself, it was so secretive. I didn't want people to know what I did behind closed doors with food. Or to get rid of the food. And the community enables us to step out of isolation, to shed that sense of shame, realizing other people have had the same problems and same experiences. And that in itself is so incredibly healing. Also, when we get inspiration from other people's stories, that motivates us. It helps us see what's possible. It helps us try new things. It's like Sally's doing it or Jennifer's doing it. I'm going to try that too. We won't get that when we're just doing this alone. Also, what I find in the Heal Your Hunger community on Facebook, in our Zoom calls, is that we celebrate each other. We get celebrated. And we get recognized and seen. And this is so powerful. This too is healing. As emotional eaters, we're not very kind to ourselves. We say mean things to ourselves. We berate ourselves for not having more control. And when you're in a community of women who are cheering you on, celebrating your successes, lifting you up when you stumble and fall, boy, oh boy, that is so integral to the healing journey. And also the humor and the tears that come when we do this together. I know for myself, if I didn't laugh, I wouldn't enjoy myself and I wouldn't last very long. And the beautiful thing in our community is we have a lot of laughter. We can laugh at ourselves. We can laugh at the crazy things we've done. There's an identification that enables us to kind of lighten up about it. Because there's a solution, because we're on a healing journey, we can look back and see some of the really funny things and crazy things we've done or thought, and really shed the shame and walk out into the sunlight. And also the accountability. We've got to have accountability. If we just listen to our heads, we're going to be listening to a lot of rationalizations and a lot of excuses, but when we're accountable, when we're held accountable, we toe the line, we follow through. It just kind of lifts us up and enables us to take that next step. and the face-to-face interactions. When we're together on our Zoom calls with the Heal Your Hunger community, we can look at each other, we can see each other, we can witness each other's growth and progress. And, to see women around the globe who have struggled in the exact same way that we have, to share in that common journey is so healing. It's really a balm for the soul. And, as emotional eaters, we're not hungry for food, we're hungry for connection. And that's why community is so vital, because it's literally a piece of the healing puzzle. And without it, we're missing that really important opportunity to heal at a deeper level. So I'm glad Sheri took advantage of this community. She's been an important part of it. As you can tell, she's incredibly insightful and wise, and she's brought that to the community. Each woman brings so much of her past experiences and struggles and successes to our community, and that's what makes it so rich and so healing. So I hope you enjoyed this interview. Please reach out if you're realizing you're lacking community, if that's the missing piece to your weight loss puzzle, if you've been trying to do it alone, if you've been feeling like you should be able to do it alone, guess what? If you could have, you probably would have, and we're not meant to do this as an island. I believe God put us here together to share in our common experiences and to lift each other up. It's such a beautiful thing. So please reach out if that's the missing piece of your puzzle, and let us support you on your healing journey. Thanks so much for watching. It's been such a pleasure, and please stay tuned for another episode from the special 8-part series, Snapshots of Freedom from Emotional Eating. Okay, here's my take. First of all, wow, what an inspiring story. Sheri has been through so much in her life, and, the scare with cancer, the real struggle and treatment for cancer brought her emotional eating into very sharp focus. Thank goodness, because she had a wake-up call that helped her address it so she could live a long, healthy life. And the truth is, emotional eating is a life and death issue, whether we have a cancer scare or not, right? When we eat unhealthy foods in unhealthy amounts and we're at a weight that puts us in danger or gives us comorbidities that makes us susceptible to viruses, to disease, to breakdown, it's life and death for all of us. Now, other parts of her story are so inspirational. Her financial success, emotional eating, when we're eating carbs and sugar, we're very foggy brained, right? We don't think clearly, and we don't realize it because we're not drunk on alcohol or spaced out from drugs. But sugar and carbs are their own kind of drugs and don't allow us to think clearly, to feel energetic, to be awake and alive and expressive in the way that we really should be. So Sheri's healing translated directly into more clarity, more focused, more energy, and really empowerment around her job, to the point where she is top salesperson in her field of work. So yay, Sheri. And lastly, I want to talk about community. Sheri talked about how special the Heal Your Hunger community is and what an integral part of her healing it has been. And the truth is, studies show that when it comes to weight loss, community is essential. It's not just a good idea, it's essential for success in weight loss and lasting success in weight loss. So what Sheri was able to access are some really key components that aren't available when you're just trying to read a book and do what the book says, or do a do-it-yourself course online. The community is essential for healing. Why? Well, let's take a look. Encouragement and motivation. Let's face it, our heads talk to us all day long, convincing us to eat that, or go ahead and blow your diet, or blow off exercise, or whatever. Our minds rationalize. They naturally rationalize and make excuses. But when you're around other people who are taking good action, who are getting beautiful results, it inspires you, it motivates you, it enables you to take that next important step towards healing. Not to mention, when we're eating, we do it in isolation. We have binges at night. We sneak food. We don't tell anybody what we've eaten. We eat the rest of the ice cream in the refrigerator and we replace it so nobody knows. The sense of isolation and shame compounds the problem and fuels our eating, And so what's so important is that when we're in community, when we're coming out of the closet, we're sort of realizing we're not the only ones who have done the crazy things we've done. That shared experience is so incredibly healing. It takes us out of the isolation and shame and into a new level of self-acceptance and motivation to make changes in our lives. And most importantly, the face-to-face interactions. The Heal Your Hunger community that has supported Sheri involves meetings on Zoom, involves our connecting in groups on Zoom and in Facebook, in a private Facebook group. And what's so awesome is that in this community on Zoom, we're looking eye to eye to each other. We're seeing each other's light. We're seeing each other's expressions. And that again lifts us out of isolation and enables us to feel better about ourselves and to give love and encouragement to others. The love that we have on our calls from women all around the globe who have shared the same experiences and the same struggles, it's palpable and it's also healing. If you're on a diet, you just take all your favorite foods away with no joy and no love and just drudgery, drudgery, one heavy clay foot in front of the other. Whereas when you do it in community, you can laugh, you can shed off any kind of troubles or pain or struggles, you can get cheered on, but you can also see and feel other people's hearts and real support. So if you're missing that piece in your weight loss journey, if you're trying to do it on your own, I understand why you're doing that. You're doing it because you probably feel like you should be able to do it on your own. But remember, you're dealing with one of the hardest of addictions to overcome. Why? Because we have to eat. We can't just put the plug in the jug like you can with alcohol and leave it behind forever. You have to take your food out of the refrigerator, as I like to call it, the tiger out of the cage, and deal with it, handle it, and then put it back in. So all the more reason why you need support and community. So if that's missing for you, I hope you'll reach out. We would love to support you in Heal Your Hunger. Again, congratulations to Sheri for her beautiful and wonderful journey and all that she's contributed to our Heal Your Hunger community. She's such a bright light, so wise, and all the women in the Heal Your Hunger community are. They bring to this community so much love, such a big heart, and so much wisdom and experience from their lives. And together, a rising tide lifts all boats, and that's how we heal. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll tune in to the other episodes from Snapshots of Freedom from Emotional Eating, an 8-part series of interviews with my awesome clients. I'll see you on the next show.
If you enjoyed this podcast and want to get free support, insider health info, exclusive invites to events, and more, visit healyourhunger.com.